Hey everybody, we're live with Hangar 18, volume number 13. A baker's dozen of fucking heavy metal for your ass. And just so you know, I'm going to go ahead and, for our 0 viewers, I'll let you know that I'm sick right now, but I'm making the sacrifice for heavy metal to go ahead and make this podcast, because that's how much I care. And with me, as always, is the Spock to my Kirk, the panty to the dropper, Dreadwind in his luscious baritone voice, fresh out of watching Rogue One. So go ahead there, Dreadwind.
What is up, everyone?
All right. So yeah.
I mean one.
Yeah. What is up, that one guy? All right.
One guy.
So anyway, this week we decided to go ahead and, for whatever reason, I think it might have been the cold or like the drugs I took to get rid of the cold. I don't know. We decided to let Dreadwind make all the choices, and that had some mixed results. So
come on.
Yeah, I'm just saying, mixed results. Everything I pick is a gem. Oh wait, no, right. I've had some pretty strong ones too. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna talk about some heavy metal news, and I'm gonna go first because I'm awesome. And I hope this one didn't get on your radar there, Dreadwind, because I thought it was quite amusing. As I lay dying, the singer Tim Lambesis, who's in jail right now for trying to have his wife killed by a hitman, he filed a $35 million lawsuit against a prison medical team after developing gynecomastia. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically when men grow boobs.
Wow.
So yeah, apparently he's saying the treatment that they gave him in prison, I forget what it was that they were treating him for, but he's saying that it caused him to develop boobies. And now he's suing for $35 million, which seems like a little bit outrageous, but you know how lawsuits go. But that guy is, since he is serving a 6-year stint for murder for hire, he's obviously a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs in the first place.
No kidding.
So yeah, that was my news. I hope you didn't pick the same one.
No, that one missed my radar.
All right.
Wow. Mine's very tame compared to that. I just have.
I set the bar hot.
You did. Wow, that's up there. John 5 has a new album that will be coming out.
All right.
If you're into all the crazy guitar stuff and quirky, attitude stuff that he has going on, it's gonna be called Season of the Witch, and it is due out in March.
All right.
So here's some of John 5's monster guitar playing that he doesn't get to showcase in the Rob Zombie band.
Yeah, every time I think of John 5, I always think of that green guitar he has that does the light show. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And the last time I saw White Zombie, it was like they're playing, he's doing his solo, and there's just like these giant rotating pentagrams on all these screens. I'm like, there might be something too when people say this is devil music. I mean, like, you got 20-foot tall pentagrams just rotating in front of everybody. It's maybe there's something to it.
Yeah.
All right. Don't drag me down today, Dreg.
Last time I saw John 5, he was still with Manson.
No, yeah. Have you ever seen the video where I think they get into a fight when they're doing Beautiful People, him and Manson?
I think I did see that.
Because Manson was doing his little goose stepping thing, and he accidentally hits John 5, and John 5 gets pissed.
I think so. I think I remember that.
All right. I didn't just make that up. That wasn't just a drug-induced haze right there, guys. Okay. On to our reviews of songs. Excuse me. There's going to be a lot of that, so if you don't like coughing, fucking turn it off, because I'm going to have to cough today. I've taken an expectorant. So
expectorant.
I just wanted to say expectorant. All right. So the first of Dreadwind's songs that he chose was from a band called Nevermore, formed in Seattle, Washington. And as soon as I read that, I was like, oh, God, here we fucking go. Seattle, Washington. In 1991, no less, the fucking peak of the goddamn flannel shirt fucking grunge era. But the song is called Narco Synthesis.
Yep.
And it's off their album Dead Heart in a Dead World, released in 2000. We all managed to make it through that Y2K thing without nuclear Armageddon.
Yeah, imagine
That's
that.
a good thing. Yeah, I know. Who'd have thunk it?
You know, it's funny. I'm just going to bring that up. It seemed like I remember some of our listeners may not be old enough to remember this, surprisingly. But I remember if you've actually been through it, it was a big panic.
Yeah.
Like around 98, people were like, oh no, the Y2K, and everybody was like, they didn't account for the big deal was that none of the banks accounted for the changeover from where they just used the last 2 digits of the year from 99 to 2000 was going to go from 99 to 00.
Right.
And then they all thought the computers were going to like screw up because it would just go to 1900. Right.
Yep.
And I remember being a kid in the 80s and seeing my mom's checkbook, and on the checkbook back then the checks would have the little 19 for the year, and all you had to do when you fill out the year on the check, you would write the month, the day, and then the last 2 digits of the year.
Right.
Because the 19 was already printed on it. And I remember looking at the checkbook, and I mean, this is like 87.
Right. What happens in 10 years?
Thinking, so what happens in 2000? You're not going to be able to do that on the checks. And you mean to tell me all these people and these supercomputers and the banks and everything didn't think of that at some point?
Yeah, from what I understood, it was cheaper for them to code the 2 digits as opposed to the 4 digits. So that's why they did it like
right.
that, I guess.
Right. But still, I mean, when you have a 10-year-old kid in the 19, going,
right,
that's going to have to change in a few years, somebody should have been on that.
Yeah, especially earlier. Like the people in charge of like the computers that control, missile launches and stuff.
Right. Yeah. But anyway, that was a big tangent, but go ahead.
Yeah, definitely a big tangent. That was a big scare, though. It really was.
It was, yeah. Nobody knew what was going to happen. I mean, some people thought it was going to be like, World War nuclear bombs and everything, and then other people just thought like, well, maybe we might have some power outages, and
Yeah, some people thought there'd be like financial fuck-ups too, like all of Wall Street would get wiped out and stuff.
Yeah, and like power grids might go down for a while or something like that.
We survived that. We survived the fucking Mayan calendar thing. We survived Ragnarok. We're fucking batting 1,000 as far as apocalypse is good.
No kidding, man. If I had like $1,000 for every apocalypse that we've avoided.
Well, there's one in 2029 too. It's Apophis, and this one actually like has some scientific merit to it. And so meteor.
Okay.
Unusual. All right, so we went way the fuck off topic there. All right, so
back
anyway.
To the music.
All right, the song is called Narco Synthesis by band Nevermore, and strong drum opening, but the vocals I thought were awful in the entire song. I hate the vocals, awful. And he put this effect on his voice in some of the vocals, which took his awful voice and made it even worse, I thought. They had a good breakdown. They're described as progressive metal, and I'm not sure if I would put them in that category. So I think progressive metal, I think stuff like Mastodon, where they got, just, I don't know, not this. The solo was pretty good. The parts of it sounded almost gothic, which I'm not surprised from a band called Nevermore that some of their shit sounds a little gothic. But I mean, it wasn't awful overall, so I give it a 7. Driven.
Yeah, it does have. It starts out real strong. There's some pretty cool guitar work going on, like in between the main rhythm sections, and it's kind of got a this particular song kind of has a Fear Factory feel to it.
Yeah, a little bit, but like kind of slowed down though. So.
Yeah, not quite as super tempo as Fear Factory, but a similar feel. I like the tempo change from the rhythm to the chorus.
Yeah, that's what I was calling the breakdown.
Yeah, and the solo I liked. The ending I think is real cool. The way it changes up at the end and just gets real heavy. The guitar player for this band is Jeff Loomis. And fun fact about Jeff Loomis, when he was like 16 or so, he actually auditioned for Megadeth. This was back when they were looking for a replacement for Jeff Young. Oh, wow. So right after So Far So Good So What, he actually went out and auditioned for him.
That was what, like 85 maybe, something like that?
A little bit later than that.
87 maybe, something?
Because So Far So Good So What was it was after after Young had left the band, because he had So Far So Good So What I think came out in 87. So it probably would have been maybe a couple years after that.
88.
It was right. 88. Okay, it was right before Rest in Peace, because he ended up getting Marty Friedman, is who got the job.
Thankfully.
But that's when Loomis auditioned for him, and Dave was like, "Thanks for coming out. You're a good guitar player, but you're just a little young and inexperienced right now." But he told him to keep at it, and he'd be something one day. So
isn't it great when like a 26-year-old's telling somebody that they're too young?
Yeah, right.
I don't know how old Dave was at the time, but I guess it was right around there, like mid to late 20s.
Yeah, maybe so. But anyway, just cool tidbit. And he is now, actually, Loomis is now in, I think it's Arch Enemy.
Sweet.
He's with them now. So, but anyway, I like this song. I like Nevermore. I like this song. I give it an 8.5. This is, I think, a good album.
Yeah, see, when I listened to this, I said, you know what? This sounds like something Dreadwind would like.
Yeah, it is.
All right. All right, so moving on to our next song. Rammstein, and not the Air Force Base, but the band from Germany, formed in 1994. This is a song called Mein Land. It's from Made in Germany, 1995 to 2011. It was like a retrospective type album. And what the fuck? All right, so
all right. First of all, I picked this song specifically for the video.
Oh yeah, the video. Like, they had this weird radio opening, and then I have wrote down here weird 60s fucked up beach video.
Yes.
Because it's just like them, and they're like all dressed up like 1960s. They're doing like 60s like dances.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, it is pretty funny. And then I guess at the very end they switch over to like their normal Rammstein gear, and they got like their flaming guitars and flaming keyboards and stuff. And then but if you speak German, which I do a little bit, I won't call myself fluent, but I can pick up words and phrases here and there. The song is like strangely nationalistic. He's basically saying, this is my land, in this direction, in this direction, in this direction. If you don't like it, get out, basically is what he's saying, which is, I thought, weird. And it did not pair up with the video at all.
Yeah, no, it really doesn't, because I think my land loosely translates to my country.
That's exactly what it translates to.
Yeah. And
and it's very nationalistic, the entire song, which is weird coming from Germans. I get a little worried when they start getting nationalistic. I'm sure Poland does too.
Yeah, probably so. Well, I mean, one of the things I like about Rammstein is their really quirky sense of humor that they throw into a lot of their videos, not just this one. And they're a band that their lyrics can be really out there at times and can be really serious and focused, but you watch their videos, and some of their videos are out there too, but others you can see they don't take themselves too seriously.
Basically, the only thing is I wasn't a fan of the actual music of this. The video was okay, it was funny and all, but I was reading in the comment section, like at least a third of the people there said, I bet the band fucked half those girls. So, because there's a bunch of like standard 1960s bikini clad girls in there, which I thought was pretty funny. But anyway, I give it a 6.0. It wasn't awful, but it wasn't the best either.
Okay. Yeah, again, I picked it strictly for the video because I think the video is hilarious. It's this, you said 60s, but same era, 50s, 60s, cheesy beach video with a bit of the Baywatch thing thrown in there.
Yeah, kind of reminded me of those those Blue Hawaii Elvis things.
Yeah, Yeah, and they even had like the older style instruments too that they were kind of playing on, and the goofy smiles and everything. It's just hilarious. And then at the end, it changes up. It's definitely not their heaviest song. It's up tempo, but there's not a whole lot of change ups or anything. There's no solo or anything like that. It's pretty just kind of a basic. Rammstein tends to kind of sit on one or two riffs for most of their songs.
Yeah.
This is no exception. Did you know also that their singer used to be an Olympic swimmer?
I did not know that, but I did notice that, like, when he's standing up there with his lifeguard jacket, he's pretty well ripped.
Yeah, he's a pretty buff. He's a pretty big and buff dude. And,
I mean, not like in bodybuilder type ripped, but like in like Kirk from Star Trek: The Original Series, or like 60s guy ripped, I guess I should say.
Right,
they're not like
right,
super defined, but they're big. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That makes any sense.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to. Probably wouldn't want to run into him in a dark alley.
No, definitely not.
But yeah, when he was like 18 or 19, he was like an Olympic swimmer. So,
all right,
another interesting fact. But anyway, I like it mostly because of the video, because I just think the video is hilarious, and then they change up at the end and kind of go to like a more modern thing where you have all the fire dancing on the beach and the makeup and everything, which is pretty cool. I give it an 8 because I like it.
Damn. Yeah. All right, so I gotta say, I never ever would have ever heard or watched that video or heard the song if it had not been on this. So yeah, all right. So moving on to a Danzig, little known band called Danzig.
Danzig.
They're a pretty good band. I mean, they got a fucking great 3-letter start to their band name. So anyway, yeah, and just little known fact here: if I was ever going to have a kid, which God forbid I didn't. Wait, no. Thank God I didn't. What I meant to say. Jesus Christ, fucking drugs are getting to me. Thank God I didn't have a kid, but if I did, I was going to name him Danzig. So anyway, formed in Lodi, New Jersey. And here's the thing about that: I would have never, ever, ever, ever guessed that Danzig was formed in New Jersey. I would have immediately guessed Texas. They just definitely
really Texas.
Yeah, they just definitely have like that. I mean, even the Danzig logo looks like a fucking skull longhorn almost. I don't know. I think Southern when I hear Danzig, kind of. But
okay.
So anyway, born in Lodi, New Jersey, 1987. This is from their album Death Red Sabbath, whatever the fuck that means. 2010. Sabbath. What is it?
Sabbath.
Yeah, but it's got an AOTH.
Yeah, I know. It's just, according to Danzig, that's like the original spelling for Sabbath.
Oh, I'm funky. All right. Anyway, this song is called Night Star Hell. I thought it had a pretty epic opening. The vocals sound weird in this song. It doesn't sound like Glenn Danzig really to me, for the most part. I mean, they sound strained and weird. Super repetitive. And I thought it was over at 420. And no, it kept going. And then it picks up a little bit. And then, like, the one bright spot for me on the song is right after that 420 part where I thought it was over. It picks up a little bit and almost takes on like a Sabbath vibe for me, which is, strange for the name of the album. But I really did not like this song at all. And, like, Danzig for me, like, the first 4 albums are fucking brilliant. I love all those albums. And
yes.
But after that, he just gets like weird. I mean, I like that live album he did, Thrall, Demon Sweat Live. That was really good too. But I mean, like some of the weird shit, like Black Acid Devil and stuff. I mean, he's just like fucked up. So anyway, I give this a 5.5. I'm not a fan of this song that much. So I hate to be Debbie Downer today. Maybe I'm the Spock today.
You might be, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, my introduction to Glenn Danzig was actually Misfits. It was the first time I heard.
Great band.
Yes, first time I heard him. I think Walk Among Us, I believe, was
Fuck
the album.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. So then from there, I was like, man, who are these guys? These guys are awesome. And then I found out about Danzig, and I got into I think it was the first Danzig album that I picked up.
The self-titled album is amazing.
It is. And like you said, those first 4 albums are awesome. And then he went weird.
Yeah, definitely.
This album, I thought with this particular album, this is a pretty recent album. I thought he went a little more back towards that style because he really got out there for a while.
Oh yeah, like I said, Black Acid Devil has like techno music and shit in it.
Right, yeah. This is a little more of a throwback to his. It's not those first 4 albums, but it's closer to those than what like Black Acid Devil is. This particular album features Johnny Kelly, former Typo Negative drummer, on drums.
That guy's got a name to be a quarterback.
Right, and Tommy Victor from Prong on guitar.
So you got 2 guys with 4 first names.
Right.
I want to point that out.
Yep. Let's see. It's got a real heavy intro, and it's definitely got kind of a Black Sabbath vibe to it. It's slow and heavy. I really like the guitar on like the pre-chorus part where it kind of kicks in and it's got that. I don't know how to describe it, but he does. It's kind of the same rhythm, but he does something a little different that makes it stand out a little more. The drums I thought sound really powerful throughout the song, and then like you said at the end, it speeds up and thrashes out, which I really liked. My only complaint was it definitely felt too long. It felt like it needed a solo right there.
Yeah, it's almost like 7 minutes long.
Yeah, and it does get super repetitive. I thought a solo would have been good in there somewhere to break it up, but they don't have one. I gave it a higher rating than you did, but I gave it a 7. But it is very repetitive. So,
all right,
yeah.
Damn, you outrated every one of these higher than me.
Yeah,
that's pretty. That's different from normal. All right,
Debbie Downer.
All right, I know. Fuck.
Speaking of down.
Speaking of being down, our next song is from the band Down. And here's where Dreadwind redeemed himself a little bit. He picked New Orleans is a Dying Whore. Down formed in 1991 in NOLA, New Orleans, Louisiana. And Down's like one of those super groups, right? It's got members from like 3 or 4 different bands.
Yeah, the original lineup consisted of Phil from Pantera at the time, Pepper from Corrosion of Conformity.
Right. Yep.
You had Kirk and Todd from Crowbar. Todd was on bass originally, and then I think Jimmy, which was the drummer from I Hate God.
God, right.
All of those guys are New Orleans guys. They're all from New Orleans. They all kind of grew up together and jamming together, and that's how the band got started. They just got together and started jamming the Sabbath tunes and stuff, and then this came about. This is off their second album.
Yep, Bustle in Your Hedgerow, Down number 2.
Which features a slight lineup change. The only change up was the bass player. Yes, Rex joined them on bass for this album.
Yeah, Rex Brown of Pantera. So this was released in 2002, Down number 2.
Yep.
And a lot of people give Down 2 some shit because it's not as good as the first Down. I mean, it's not. But the first Down was like magnificent in my opinion. The first Down album is great. I love it. Down 2 is really good too, though. I think people give it a lot more shit than it deserves. It had a crunchy, groovy opening, had a badass solo, and it's stripped down metal. It's not like it doesn't have like these super embellishments all over it and like super overproduced stuff. You can tell that they did the song. At least I thought that you could tell that they did the song like in a matter of a couple of days, as opposed to spending like a month absolutely perfecting and nailing the song. You know what I mean? It just seemed like a lot more raw, I guess.
It's not overproduced.
Yeah, right. And at one point, there's like this weird counterpoint guitar that goes on, which I thought that was kind of cool. Like you have the main guitar going, and then there's like this weird counterpoint guitar. I only noticed that for the first time. I've listened to this song probably 3-4 dozen times, but I only noticed it, in prep for the show today. So I mean,
they actually do that a lot, especially on this album. They do that a lot, where you'll have the 2 guitars kind of doing something a little different, and it's hard to pick out if you're listening to it with speakers. But if you
right, because I'm usually listening to it at maximum volume in my car, and here I was listening to it, hard, kind of trying to catch nuances, and definitely, I thought that was pretty good. I give it a 7.5.
Okay. Yeah, you put on headphones and you can really pick out the two guitars doing different work, because they're usually panned. Usually you have one of the guitarists is off to the right and the other one's more off to the left, and you can really hear the differences in them. This is pretty much classic Southern sludge metal. It's got a good drum build up, and then it just kicks into some major heaviness.
Oh yeah.
Phil's voice is mean and low in this one, and the solos, like you said, they're not flashy. They're more of a bluesy style.
Definitely.
Guitar solos, but it fits everything.
Yeah, the whole time I kept hearing this song, I kept picturing like black and white and like a steamboat going down the river.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if there's one particular part of the lyrics that I thought just kind of sum up New Orleans to a T. If anyone who's lived there understands when you hear it. He gets into the part where he says, "Mob world politics, so broke it can't fix. Trapped in a time zone, there's no place like home."
Yeah.
That's New Orleans.
Right there. About right.
That pretty much sums it up. Yeah. I love this song. I love this album. Those first 2 or 3 Down albums are outstanding. The first 2 in particular are outstanding. Yep. The third
one's pretty good too.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's not as strong as the other 2 though. I give this a 9.5. I love this song.
Damn.
Yeah.
Man, patting yourself on the back today, huh?
Oh yeah, somebody has to.
All right. All right. Next song is from Chimera, and I don't know if you noticed a little trend in your choices there, Droidwin, but you picked two Dungeons and Dragons monsters in this whole setup here. Chimera being the first one. Chimera formed in 1998 in Cleveland, and probably the best thing to come from Cleveland is Chimera. It's from their album The Impossibility of Reason, released in 2003. The song is called Crawl, and super duper heavy opening riff. It builds up to the vocals, which I thought was really good, and it's just the whole fucking song is crunchy as all get out. I mean, it's standard Chimera basically. I'm a fan of it, and I really like the song. I don't have too many notes because it's just cut and paste Chimera, but I give it an 8.5. Go ahead.
Well, I don't know that it's so typical of them, to be honest with you, because the rest of that album really doesn't sound like this particular song.
Yeah, but if you listen to it like The Infection, this song could have been any one of the songs on Infection.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Just based off this particular album, this song kind of stands out from this album because it's so different from the rest of the album. But like I said, it's got a really heavy rhythm. Well, did you rate it? Would you rate it?
Oh, sorry, my bad. Yeah, I did 8.5.
Okay, I might have missed it. My bad.
Yeah, you missed it. Fucking pay attention.
Yeah, okay. The real heavy rhythm, again, powerful drums. I like the vocals in this one. The build up at like about 2 minutes in is just awesome.
Agreed.
Just really builds into it. And I think this is like the perfect length for this song.
I was just about to say, it's right around 3 minutes.
Yeah, like, I think 3.5 minutes. It's a perfect, perfect song. The whole song just punches you in the face slowly.
It never stops, right?
Yeah. Again, big fan of this one. I give this one a 9.
Damn, you fucking outrated me on every one of these. I thought the 8.5 was going to take it. All right. So, moving on to our next band. And as soon as I saw this, I couldn't fucking believe it because I'm a fan of this band, but I never, ever in my wildest dreams would have imagined Hatebreed being one of Dreadwind's choices. And because it's core.
I gotta throw a bone to my co-host.
Yeah, I mean, it's core, and I never would have imagined, he would have liked, something core. Anyway, it's Everybody Bleeds Now. And he just happened to pick one of my favorite Hatebreed songs ever. Because
I just picked that random because I liked the name. I thought it was a cool name.
Yeah, it's Hatebreed formed in Connecticut in 1994. This is off their self-titled album released in 2009. The song's called Everybody Bleeds Now. And you're right, it's a fucking badass name for a song. The opening drums is just fucking awesome. It just goes, then it just fucking nails you in the face. You got Jamie Josta on vocals here. And Jamie Josta, he's an awesome vocalist, in my opinion. His vocals sound tortured, I think, in this, in a good way, like, you know, fucking Gimp Mask type way. It's got a groovy main riff. It's got this awesome pause part where he just pauses for a second and they go right back into blasting you in the face that heavy as fuck guitar. It's a sledgehammer of a song all the way through. It's got a great breakdown. I give it a 9.0.
All right.
Now you're gonna bring me down, aren't you?
No, the song, like you said, that's my exact note. Kicks you in the face when it starts out. I gave him bonus points for wearing the Crowbar shirt.
Hell yeah! I think one of them had a
cool.
Sepultura shirt at one point too.
I think so, yeah. But I noticed Jamie.
One thing about this video here, real quick, is it had the standard chick up in the front who like barged her way up into the front because she's a chick and she thought she could get away with it, and she was up there in the front and like barely moving around. Fuck those type of chicks. Go ahead.
Look at me. But anyway, guitars sound real heavy. It's got a real awesome rhythm going to it. They kind of have this part where it's kind of like a group singing chorus thing, and I guess that's meant for the crowd to get into, but for the song, it's just.
I know exactly what part you're talking about.
Yeah, it's kind of a group singing thing. I wasn't. I don't know. I wasn't sure. Kind of iffy on that part, but I guess probably live it sounds good because I'm sure the crowd sings that part. So. I imagine that's what it was intended for. They had a real cool change up towards the end, and it slowed way down. You know, the first half of the song is pretty up tempo, but then they kind of slow it down a bit towards the end, which I thought was a cool change up. But I kept waiting for a solo or something right there.
Yeah, you like, wait all day for Hatebreed to give you a solo.
Yeah, and then no solo ever came up. But I was like, okay, whatever. But it slowed down, and I was waiting for it to do something after it slowed down, and it didn't. It just stopped. And I was like, that's it? Where's the rest? I don't know. It wasn't bad though. It's a cool song. Overall, I'll give it an 8. It's not bad.
No, all right, not too bad.
Yeah.
Hatebreed, they don't really do solos. I mean, they're core. They're not gonna have that kind of thing.
Yeah. So. Well, I wasn't entirely sure, so I didn't knock them for that. I was just, like I said, that was my note. Was like, if there was going to be a solo, that's where it should have been. You know.
Now they're capable of it because like they've released an album of covers where they cover Metallica and they cover Crowbar and they do all kinds of solos in that. So
yeah, just not for their particular music.
Right.
Yeah, I think my only real knock on it, like I said, was at the end when it did change up and it did slow down. I was expecting that to go into something, and it didn't. It just stopped. So that was a little jarring for me. That was really the only knock I have on the song, though. So
all right, that's a lot better than I thought it was going to be. All right, so. Moving on to
full of surprises today.
I guess. Goddamn. Panties dropping everywhere. All right. So, next band, Ex Deo, formed in Montreal, Quebec in 2008. This song is called The Rise of Hannibal, and it is from their yet-to-be-released album, The Immortal Wars, coming out in February 2017. And I actually had this song on one of my Thunder 3s most recently. So,
did you? I did not. Yeah, I did not see that.
I did, and
I'd never heard of this band until like
they are
2 weeks
fucking
ago.
Awesome, right? Here's my notes about this band: epic opening, heavy as fuck, tasteful use of keyboards, badass drum and bass part, or bass and drum part. Like they did this part where it kind of slows down and you can hear the bass kind of kick in a little bit, and then they do like an awesome drum part. And my only one complaint is when I was watching the video of it, and then the video basically is just the album cover. And they had this like banner on it that had like, hey, the album's going to drop in February 2017, right? And the banner covered up part of the cover of the album. And it looked like an elephant or an elephant man was blowing Hannibal. Because of the way they put the banner across there. I'm serious. Go back and look at it. It looks like an elephant is blowing Hannibal. And he's like looking down at the elephant like, oh, yeah. And he's got his sword up. So that's my only knock. But otherwise, I give this a 9.5 because it's fucking badass.
Awesome. Yeah, like I said, I hadn't actually heard of this band before, so this was new for me. And the singer and the music kind of, I don't want to say they sound exactly like them, but it kind of reminded me of Dark Tranquility a little
A
bit.
little bit, yeah.
Like you said, big epic intro. It's got a nice rhythm. There's some good guitar work going on. It gets really, really heavy at about 250, and then there's a cool rhythm afterwards. I really liked all that. I liked the way I wasn't expecting him to sing this way because of the intro. I was expecting, the
Sabaton type.
Vocals. Yeah, but then he kicks in with his vocals, and it was a little different. And I was like, oh, okay, I can do this. So it sounded good. The whole song sounded good, and of course, the song is about Hannibal, who
I felt like I wanted to give me some elephants and fucking cross the Alps and fuck up some Romans.
I was about to say, my son actually just did a school project on Hannibal.
Sweet.
Which is pretty cool. And
did the plan come together?
It came together well.
I was gonna say it's a different Hannibal, maybe. Never mind.
Yeah, different Hannibal. If you don't know who Hannibal was, he was the little history lesson for you. He was a general from Carthage.
Yep.
And his father was actually killed, assassinated by Romans, and I think they mentioned this in the song where he pledges to his father that he will never be a friend of Rome.
They do. That's the very first lyric part. Is that? Yep.
Yeah, and he sets out to basically humiliate Rome, and he did a pretty darn good job of it. He was famous for taking war elephants into battle, and he crossed the Alps with the war elephants. And one of his famous quotes was, "We will either find a way or make a way to get over the Alps." And he didn't take very many prisoners, but the ones he did take were like high-ranking Roman officials, and he would take them and sell them as slaves simply to humiliate them.
Nice.
So yeah.
The Punic Wars were no joke.
No, they were serious. And he got really deep into Rome. He didn't quite take Rome itself, but he got real deep in there, and a lot of people took note of him and his tactics, and Rome actually started using his own tactics against him. That's how good he was. He's considered one of the greatest generals of all time.
So, yeah, definitely.
There you go. A little history in with your metal there. I love the song. I think it's a great song. I give it an 8.5, but that'll probably rise the more I listen to it.
Yeah, they're a really good band. I mean, they have a bunch of good songs.
Yeah, like I said, this was the first time
I first discovered them on when there used to be like actual paper magazines for heavy metal.
Mm-hmm.
They had a sampler CD in one of them. I heard them. I was like, holy shit, this is not this song, obviously, but a different song. But I was like, holy shit, this is great.
Yeah.
I've discovered a bunch of bands that way. All right, so moving on to this band is from France. They are from France. 2013 they were formed.
They
the band's called
mass quantities.
Right, consume mass quantities of chicken embryos. All right, so fuck. Wow, now I'm getting like way off track. All right, so the band's called Gorgon, and this is the second of the D&D monster bands that Dreadwind picked.
Yeah, I knew about this one. I wasn't sure about the Chimera one because Chimera's a disease too.
Yeah, Chimera is like the three-headed beast. It's got like the head of a fucking snake and a goat and a fucking lion. Anyway, this one's called Everlasting Flame of Olympus. From what I understand, every song this band Gorgon does is about like Greek mythology. The keyboards were way too fucking loud in this opening, and really throughout the entire song. Like they were like louder than the lead guitar and the rhythm guitar and the drums in a lot of places. I wasn't a fan of that. The song was too long, in my opinion, and they also had a half-naked dude chained up, waiting for the eagle to come eat out his liver, which is reference to Prometheus. He's punished by the gods for giving humans fire. And that's how they punished him. Is the eagle would come and eat out his liver every day, and it would regenerate at night. So, but anyway,
look more like a raven.
No, it's an eagle. It's supposed to be an eagle.
Okay.
As far as the mythology goes.
Yeah.
But I think, like, in my opinion, Greek mythology, it's okay and all, but like they're a bunch of pussies compared to Viking mythology, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, the Viking gods would kick the shit out of the Greek gods, in my opinion. Just my opinion. I don't know. Fuck. So anyway,
I think Ares might be the only one that's.
Yeah, maybe Ares, but I think Thor could fuck up Ares.
Yeah, I know, right?
So, but anyway, he controls the thunder and shit, man. Come on. All right. Anyway, I wasn't a fan of the song. I give it a 6.0. I mean, it's like their war paint was just distracting to me, and I don't know. I didn't like it. And they're from France, so fuck it. 6.0.
Yeah, it kind of had that epic Viking metal opening, or at least your typical. That's what you're expecting to hear.
I was definitely full.
Yeah, the solo. I thought the solo was pretty good. That's probably my favorite part of the song was the guitar solo. I like the harmony and all. Um, I thought the music actually overpowered the vocals a lot. In a lot of sections, just the music in general just got so loud you could barely hear the vocals. The video, I get, was supposed to be dark, but it was so dark you could hardly see anything.
Yep.
At times. And most of the song was just really repetitive. There wasn't much to it. Again, I wasn't really a fan of this one either. I give it a 6 also.
All right. Finally, we agree on something. Finally, you were right about something. Fucking, even a broke clock's right twice a day, I guess, right?
Yeah, right.
All right. So the next, so he's going to redeem himself on this next one here. A band called Orchid, and they're formed in San Francisco in 2007. Mm-hmm. And this is the title track from their album Capricorn, released in 2011. Yeah, I love this band, right? I mean,
yes,
they're so great. I mean,
yes.
The bass-driven opener was awesome, and you can hear the bass in the entire song. And for me, and I've said it before, to me, it's a hallmark of a good band if you can hear all the instruments. And a lot of times, bass gets kind of like washed out. At one point, it almost sounded like they had a sitar going. I don't know if that was just a pedal effect off the guitar, but it definitely sounded like a sitar. And I think that's how you pronounce it. Sitar, like those weird Indian guitars.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
that's right. It had a great groovy slow down to it. So many Black Sabbath references. Like the singer himself looks like Ozzy. I mean, he looks.
That's my note. I have that written down. Yes.
He looks like, and he holds the mic the same way Ozzy did, and he's wearing like that, like the leather tassel thing. It looks like fucking Ozzy right there. And even like some of the visuals they did in the video itself that wasn't the band reminded me of the cover of the first Black Sabbath album. Great lyrics, eerie vocals, just like Ozzy again. Great solo. I have nothing but good to say about this. I give this a 9.0.
Nice. Yeah. Orchid, if you've never heard of Orchid before, they are a Black Sabbath clone.
Yeah, definitely.
It's the best way to describe them. This band sounds like, when I listen to Orchid, it sounds like previously unreleased tracks that Black Sabbath had recorded in the 70s.
Agreed.
That you've never heard before. I mean, that's it. It's uncanny, and it's on purpose. That's the sound, the tone, the vibe, and the look, even the look, because they kind of dress in that old, 70s style clothing a little bit.
Yeah, and the guitarist his guitar looks a lot like Iommi's guitar.
Yeah, he plays a Gibson SG just like Iommi. Like you said, the singer kind of actually looks like Ozzy. He kind of dressed like Ozzy did back then, minus the jumpsuits, obviously.
The dresses.
that was the weird part, but yeah,
the helmets.
Yeah, the vocals I thought fit the music and the vibe of the song really well. They really the whole band really captures the Sabbath vibe and sound.
Agreed.
The bass player is definitely from the school of Geezer.
Agreed.
The bass line, it sounds like, again, it sounds like you would hear Geezer playing. The tone that they get is uncanny. It sounds like Iommi's tone. The drums kind of have the swing beat to it.
Yep, jazzy beat. Yep.
Yeah, it makes you want to bang your head, and the solo again sounds a lot like something Iommi would do. The band sounds like Black Sabbath. If you like Black Sabbath, the classic Black Sabbath lineup,
which we do,
this is what this band sounds like. And Black Sabbath recently put out a new album.
Yep.
A couple years back, 13. I was thrilled when I heard they were putting out a new album. Could not wait for it to come out. Bought it, was disappointed.
Yep.
Were you?
Yep.
Yeah.
It definitely wasn't Master of Reality, that's for sure.
No, it was, and you know, this comes up a lot. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't good.
Right.
You know,
Yep.
and it didn't have that Sabbath vibe that you
Agreed.
get off of the original Sabbath. This band captures it better than they did.
Leave out Sabbath.
They out Sabbathed Sabbath. Yes. So if you like that classic Sabbath sound and vibe from Master of Reality, Paranoid, that era,
Which, if
you
you
will
don't, then why are you listening to this?
exactly. If you love that, you will love this band because that's what they sound like. I love the song 9.5.
9.5. All right. Hold on 1 second. Fuck. Okay. I had to expel a demon there real quick. All right.
Okay.
So the next band is Corpi Cleani, and they're a Finnish band formed in 2003.
Yeah.
Whoa. What's so funny?
I've never heard this before.
Okay. All right. Finnish band formed in 2003, and the song is called FC Lati. And it took me like halfway through the song and reading the comments on the face or the YouTube page to realize that FC is football club, because I guess apparently the song is about soccer. Had a great change up. It has an accordion in it, and it has a badass tempo change that includes an accordion solo. And if you do that in a heavy metal band, right there, that's balls right there.
And a violin too.
Yeah, right. So I mean, Corpi Cleani. I'm a fan of them. I mean, I'm a fan of folk metal in general, anyway. So, although really, I wasn't really a fan of the subject matter of this one because it's soccer. And I mean, I understand that Europeans love it, but not so much. I mean, it's a bunch of dudes running around chasing a ball for an hour, and it's like, okay, they do that, and the score is like 1-0.
Yeah,
Great.
and that's a blowout.
Right, exactly right. So, okay, awesome. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's the other end of the spectrum too, where basketball, it's like the score is 108-92. Like, okay, great. Yeah. So what? There's no plays or defense really. Well, I guess there is technically, but I don't know. Fuck it. All right. So anyway, I gave it an 8.0. I like the song. I'm just not really a fan of the subject matter, but I've heard better Corpi Cleani, but this one was pretty good. Go ahead, Dreadwing.
Yeah, it definitely has that folk metal, almost like an Irish drinking song.
Oh yeah,
feel to it. I didn't know what it was about either. In fact, that's like I don't have very many notes on it. My main note is I have no idea what they're singing about, and then I have ... soccer maybe because they had a picture of like a crest.
Yep,
on
the
thing with
those expensive shirts that they wear.
Yeah, and there was a soccer ball in the middle, so I was like, maybe it's about soccer.
Yep.
So yeah, it does have a cool rhythm to it, and then the solo, like you said, at accordion and violin. All right, definitely points for originality. It wasn't bad. It wasn't my favorite. I give it a 7.5 on this one.
All right.
There you go. You finally beat me on one.
Damn, I guess. Oh yeah, that was the only one. God damn. All right, so we're going to change it up a little bit this week, and instead of concert stories, we're going to talk about 5 albums that came out this year that you should have bought. If you didn't bought them, go out and bought them, because you got to be a good little capitalist and stop fucking stealing music. God damn it! All right,
that's right.
So anyway, the first one,
and I'll just make a point about that. A lot of people justify the stealing music and downloading stuff like that because like, oh well, the band doesn't see any of that anyway. Well, see, here's the thing, okay? The bands need support from the record company to fund their albums,
right,
and fund their tours. Okay, how do they get support from the record company? By selling albums.
Exactly.
So if you don't buy their album, they don't have record sales. If they don't have record sales, guess what? Record company's not going to keep them around.
Right,
and they're definitely not going to support them.
And no, that's the benchmark for music too. Like when do you hear an award ceremony where they say, "Hey, these guys went on 52 tours." You never hear that. What you hear is, "Hey, they sold X amount of records."
Right. The band makes their money off of touring and merchandise. That's where the band makes their money from. But without the record company's support, for making the album, because these albums aren't cheap to make. Recording studio time is expensive.
Yeah, so
yeah, so in order for them to be able to fund this, and those big giant tour buses that they get, guess what? Most of the bands don't own those; they're renting those from a company, and that costs money. And usually, that money is covered initially, at least, by the record companies. That's where all this funding for this comes from. So they need support from the record companies, and the way to do that is by buying their album. So even though they may not be seeing a large chunk of the money from actual album sales, it still helps support the band.
All right. Okay, Lars.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
Hey, now.
Yeah, my 5 albums that I picked, we got off on a weird tangent there, too. Yeah. My 5 albums that I picked were Black Sabbath, The End. And again, if you're hoping to hear Master of Reality, you're going to be disappointed. But it is Black Sabbath, so it's required. Amon Amarth, Jomsviking, and it's a great album. I'm sorry, I love this album. It's typical Amon Amarth, but I think it's awesome. Motorhead, Clean Your Clock, which is I can't hardly say that without saying Clean Your Cock. But it's a live album and it's great. I mean, it has like everyone you'd expect on there. Ace of Spades and Bomber and everything. 6 Feet Under, Graveyard Classics #4, and 6 Feet Under, they do every once in a while they release an album of covers, and 2 of them have been like various band covers, and one they did an entire AC/DC cover CD, and then this was Graveyard Classics 4. It's called The Number of the Priest, and it's all Judas Priest covers.
Nice.
It's not like the standard ones you'd think of, like the Trooper or whatnot. I'm talking about like Nightcrawler, Genocide, Prowler, stuff like that.
Trooper's Iron Maiden, but
oh, duh. Yeah, well, this is okay, yeah.
I know what you're saying though.
All right, it's the cold, goddamn. Yeah, this is tribute to Iron Maiden and Judas Priest.
Oh, so it's both. Okay, so both.
Yeah, that's why I said the Number of the Priest, like Number of the Beast.
Okay. Oh, I got you.
Got you. See, you were fucked up. Goddamn it.
I am. I just caught the Priest part.
That's right. Now get out. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So anyway, finally, Crowbar, The Serpent Only Lies, and this is really good Crowbar. I think it's like a throwback to their old school type stuff. I'm a fan of it. So those are my 5. What did you pick for your 5? Treadwind.
Sweet. Yeah, that Lars comment just still has my head spinning. I don't know if I can forgive you for that one.
Mm-hmm.
I almost had Amon Amarth on my list, actually. I can't.
Oh, you almost picked Jomsviking too?
I almost picked them. My top 5.
You picked Megadeth Dystopia, didn't you?
There's so many. Hey, don't get ahead of me here. There's so many. There are so many good metal albums that came out this year, and it's easy to have missed them because most of these bands don't have as good of a marketing team as some bands do. I'm not naming any names. So you don't see their name and advertisements posted all over Facebook all the time.
Metallica, maybe.
I'm not naming any names. So at number 5, I have Sabaton with The Last Stand.
Great band.
If you want some epic, historic power metal, that's the way to go. One of the original Big 4, Anthrax, dropped a new album this year, For All Kings.
I was going to put that on my list, but I knew you were going to put it on yours, so I didn't. Go ahead.
Good album. Really, really good, solid album. If you're a fan of Anthrax, definitely check it out. Number 3 on my list is Crowbar, The Serpent Only Lies.
Hey, look at that. Great minds, right?
Outstanding sludge metal Crowbar. Just, in your face, crunchy, heavy. Absolutely. Great album. Number 2, I have Testament, Brotherhood of the Snake. Another great album.
And you know what?
Another great album.
Let me interrupt you right there real quick. Brotherhood of the Snake is also a great novel about Space Marines.
Huh, interesting. Yeah. I don't think that's what they're singing about, but
no, probably not.
Yeah. But yeah, this is pretty much your classic Testament here. It's heavy, it's thrashy, it's good, solid album all the way through. And my number 1 pick for this year, Megadeth, Dystopia. Outstanding album. This might be my favorite album of the year. Some bands you talk about, oh, this is the greatest album they've put out in the last 20 years. Well, this one I would rank as far as a Megadeth catalog. I would put this album right up there with Countdown to Extinction.
Damn, that's pretty solid endorsement there. I was gonna put that on my list too, but I also knew you were gonna put that on your list. So I decided.
Yeah, I think it's that good, and the new guitar player they have, Kiko, reminds me so much of Marty Friedman at times. It's uncanny with the phrasing and the tone and the types of solos that he does. He's the best guitar player they've had since Marty Friedman, and that's saying something because they've had a lot of good guitar players over the years.
Yeah, I agree. I would put it up there. It's a really good album. I would put it up there with Countdown. I wouldn't put it up there with Rust in Peace. But
no, it's not Rust in Peace.
It's not a masterpiece, but it's really good.
Yes, it's not Rust in Peace, but it's up there with Countdown. Outstanding album. Definitely, if you're a fan of Megadeth and you like the Rust in Peace and the Countdown to Extinction era, you will like this album. It is outstanding. And you'll notice there's a band that I have not mentioned that is missing from both of our lists. I don't think they would even crack my top 10, to be perfectly honest.
What about Metallica?
Yeah.
Yeah. What a disappointment that was.
I know. And, some people are like, oh, I'm really impressed with the new album. Well,
That's okay, the shitty thing about being a metalhead is sometimes people are like, hey, did you hear the new Metallica? I'm like, yeah, I heard it. They're like, oh, it was great, wasn't it? No, it was not.
No. and the thing is too, most of those people who love the new Metallica album have probably have not listened to any of these albums on our lists.
Yeah, and you're right. And a lot of those people are like 25 years old and younger. So
yeah, and it's like,
old.
we are, don't remind me. But I mean, the bands on our list all have outstanding albums that I think are better than Metallica's album, but you don't hear about them because Metallica's all over the news and that's what everybody talks about.
Right. So, speaking of that, I was going to say, I guess they did a survey and they found out that on that Spotify music service, they found out that the most streamed music was heavy metal, and they couldn't figure out why. I'm like, well, I'll tell you why. If you want to hear pop music or if you want to hear pop country, just turn on the radio or go into a supermarket or go into a gym or go into any public place where music's playing. You're going to hear that shit all day long. But, musicophiles, I'm sure there's a right word for that. That's not what I just said. That are into heavy metal are they're gonna like look for their music. So that's why I love this show. It's like you'll get 10 songs that like a lot of people are like, whoa, I've never heard of that shit. And afterwards maybe they go and look it up, and they're like, hey, that's pretty good.
Right. Yeah, and that's how these albums are. If you haven't been following the band, you might not know that these albums came out. You have to go looking for this stuff, and these are all really good albums that came out this year.
Yeah, I agree. All 10 of them. All right, so that about does it for this edition of Hangar 18. I want to thank Dreadwind for picking the songs and dropping all the panties with his baritone voice.
You're welcome.
And I apologize for my, even though he did a pretty good power metal impersonation there a little while back, but I apologize for how my voice, I'm scratchy and all the coughing, but like I said, fuck it, I'm getting over either bronchitis or the fucking bubonic plague. I don't know, something. But anyway, horns up, stay fucking metal.
Stay metal, all for the sake of metal. Yep.
All right, we're out.